If you could time travel like Marty McFly style, where would you go? Personally, I'd go visit the future and see how the world progresses, or maybe go visit another world for funsies. But hey, let me know what you do in the comments, I would love to know. And for now, allow me to share some alien theories with y'all. So in the early 2000s, online posts from an alleged time traveler took the interwebs by storm. The first post using John Titor's military symbol appeared on the Time Travel Institute forums on November 2nd of 2000. Them being specific, under the username timetravel_0. The post discussed time travel in general, the first one being the 6 parts description of the components required for a working time machine and responses to questions from other posters about how such a machine might work. This anonymous user described his time machine as a stationary mass, temporal displacement unit powered by 2 top-spin dual positive singularities, and producing a standard offset Tipler sinusoid. The earliest post was more explicit, detailing the components of the machine, so 2 magnetic housing units for the dual microsingularities, an electron injection manifold to alter mass and gravity of the microsingularities, a cooling and X-ray venting system, gravity sensors or a variable gravity lock, 4 main Celsium clocks, 3 main computer units, and a partridge in a pear tree? According to the post, the device was installed in the rear of a 1966 Chevrolet Corvette convertible. Try saying that 5 times fast. Hey, I drive a Chevy, I can't judge. A second thread was also made due to the shortcomings of the forum software used at the time. The name John Titor was first introduced in January of 2001 though, when time travel began posting at the Art Bell Post to Post BBS forums, which required a name or a pseudonym for every account. The final post was made in March of 01 though. In his online postings, John claimed to be an American soldier from the year 2036, based in Tampa, Florida. He said that he was assigned to a governmental time travel project, and that as part of the project he was sent back to 1975 to retrieve an IBM 5100 computer, which was needed to debug various legacy computer programs that existed in 2036, a possible reference to the Unix year 2038 problem. Now it's 2024 when I'm saying this, and I don't think we're any closer to space-time travel. John had said that he'd been selected for this mission because his paternal grandfather was directly involved in the original assembly and programming of the 5100. He attempted to provide proof of this by describing unpublicized features of said computer. He said that he was on a stopover in the year 2000 for personal reasons, to collect pictures lost in the future, and to visit his family, of whom he spoke often. He also said that for several months he'd been trying to warn anybody who would listen about the potential threat of a disease that could spread through beef products, and about the possibility of an upcoming civil war within the United States. When questioned about UFOs and extraterrestrial life, however, our loose-lipped traveler claimed to not know much on the subject. Okay, time for my theory, because I think you've been patient enough. I think John was an alien, and from another timeline, but he's posting just enough information to see where we as a society were in terms of advancements. Going back to what I said earlier about how it's 2024 right now, and that would be 12 years away, I don't think we're 12 years away from time travel. So what if our time and alien time move at a different pace? So like 1 alien year is 100 human years, and they've made more advancements over there obviously, so you just got a little confused with the conversion? Well, think about it, would ya? Alright, this next one is a really strange story which remains unanswered by science, ergo contributing to my alien theory. Alright, the story goes like this. On a hot afternoon in July of 1954, a man arrived at the Haneda Airport, also known as the Tokyo International Airport. Described to be a Caucasian man with a beard, this man is assumed to have been French, but he was pretty fluent in other languages as well, including Japanese. Now, there's a couple of versions here. Some say that the man handed over his passport to be stamped by the Japanese immigration officials when the officers realized that while the passport seemed perfectly normal, the country where it was issued, Taured, didn't exist in real life. In another version, the man mentioned that he was from Taured, and when the officers didn't believe him, he showed his passport. Nevertheless, the man tried his best to convince the officers that this place does in fact exist in real life. He claimed it was located in between France and Spain, and also that his hometown wasn't, new either. It had been around for 1,000 years. Eventually, when the man was shown a world map, he pointed to the area which is currently the Principality of Andorra. He was genuinely confused as to why authorities were hell-bent on calling this place its, proper name. Eventually, the immigration officers arrested the man on suspicions of being a criminal. To interrogate him further and figure out what in God's name was going on, he was shifted to a hotel nearby. 2 guards were positioned outside his room to make sure he didn't escape, but anybody want to guess what happened when they went to check on him the next day? Gone. No signs of his escape, no nothing. Even the documents he was carrying with him, which could have been used as evidence of his existence, were also gone. So, was he from the future? Or more interestingly, could he be living in a parallel universe where Andorra is known as Taured? Or, more likely, he was from another galaxy, with a map and documents that were incorrectly translated from English to a language he was fluent in, and when he realized his mistake, he got beamed back to his ship or mother planet. It makes sense! Okay, so I'm guessing we've all heard about the time-traveling hipster, right? No, I'm not talking about the 11th Doctor, even though I'm more partial to the 9th, but I digress. So in 2004, a black and white photo in the Their Past Lives Here exhibit at the Braylor Pioneer Museum in British Columbia kinda took the interwebs by storm. And this photo was on display, but it didn't really take the internet by storm until 2010. That was when the collection was digitized. So the photo in question showed a crowd of spectators at an event, and on the back was a note stating that it was taken in 1941 at the reopening of the South Fork Bridge in British Columbia. Nobody knows who took the photo though, and the identity of anybody in the crowd is also online. When the collection made its way to the interwebs though, several people picked up on something that looked a little out of place. You know, when you're like staring at something, you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. So a lot of popular websites got wind of the mystery and they started republishing the picture. So what was so special about it? Well, there's this one guy in the crowd who looks completely out of place. Kinda like how I would look in a church right now, just like this, or at one of my jobs where I wear a uniform or a sparkly outfit. This just doesn't make sense. The man's appearance is way too modern to fit with the 1940s setting. He's wearing a modern t-shirt, modern sunglasses, and he's holding a camera that's way too small to have existed in 1941. His appearance among men and women dressed much more formally, and in keeping with the era, has led him to be dubbed the time-traveling hipster. So a lot of folks think that he was an imposter sent from the future to take photos of the South Fork Bridge for unknown purposes. I know y'all are going there with your brains, but hey Alexa, what if it was photoshopped for attention? Okay, like I'm gonna leave that stone unturned. The first piece of evidence to support its authenticity is from a second photo, which is a photo of the same event but from a different angle, and this was discovered shortly after the first one went viral. It's part of a different collection and is captioned "Opening of the New Bridge at South Fork," and the close-up shows the same modern-looking man from the original photo. Sure, it would be a bit of a stretch, not impossible to say that both are fake, given their different origins, but we do have more evidence of the original photograph's authenticity. In December of 2010, Evgeny Balamutenko and his colleague from Russian television channel NTV determined it was real and unedited with the help of a museum staffer. So my theory? Well, an alien wanted to test out a time travel device in a way that they could have visible proof of it working in the future, but without invading a massive event, causing a scene, ergo why he went in disguise. Like imagine if everybody with a time travel device went to the opening day of Disneyland. It'd be pretty obvious. So have you ever been confused by the sight of something weird while driving? Don't worry, you're not alone. Back in 1969, a man named LC and his business associate Bob were driving along Highway 167 towards the oil center city of Lafayette after finishing lunch in the southwest Louisiana town of Abbeville, United States. It was the 20th of October and around 1:30 in the afternoon, and they spotted this old turtleback car going really slow. They were kind of intrigued because they hadn't seen this sort of vehicle a lot before. Heck, I had to look it up myself because I am not exactly the most vehicle-aware person to exist. I exasperated my dad growing up, it was a whole thing. I'm getting better, I promise. My dad's the kind of person who can go on and on about car makes, models, all the specifics, and I'm just sitting there like, I got nothing. For what it's worth, the vehicle that we're talking about today though would be pretty unique to catch the eye and definitely antique. And even though it looked like a blast from the past, apparently it was in mint condition. So the guys kind of overtook the vehicle, but they wanted to slow right down and just check out the details, see what's going on. The car had a very distinct, large, bright orange license plate with the year 1940 clearly printed on it, which was pretty odd because at the time, antique cars weren't supposed to be on the road unless they were being used for a parade. Well folks, it gets weirder from here. The person driving the car was a young woman dressed in a 1940s dress, complete with a hat and fur coat, and she was accompanied by a small boy who was also dressed in a heavy coat and cap. So as the man got closer to the car, the lady started panicking, frantically looking back and forth as if she didn't know where she was. Elsie asked do you need help? And she was like, yes, but she never rolled down the window or even looked him in the eye. She was just like, yes, but kept going. After asking her several times to halt the vehicle, the guys finally saw her pull over on the side of the road. So they passed her, pulled over in front of her, but the moment they looked behind them, it was gone, as if it had completely vanished into thin air. Now this was a highway without any traffic, so disappearing like this wasn't gonna happen. Because the guys were shocked and they didn't know how to explain it, they just decided to keep driving on. Now a little while later, while they were still on Highway 167, they saw another new car pass a very old car at a really slow speed. It was apparently so slow that it looked like the cars had come to a halt. So as soon as the new car pulled over in front of the old car, the same thing happened. It stopped and was just, they couldn't believe their eyes. Even the guy in the other car was just like, you see this too, right? So the three guys now started describing what each had seen while walking around the area in hopes of looking for some sort of evidence. The third guy was like, we should call the police because this is a missing persons case. Whereas Elsie and Bob were like, we don't know where anything went. Nobody's gonna take us seriously. And they never saw the vehicles again, which supports my theory that aliens visited the Earth, had no clue the time period, and got beamed right back up out of here. Alrighty, how about we end today with an alien that just wanted to test out our economy? So on January 28th of 2003, a certain Andrew Carlson was arrested and detained by the police for insider trading on Wall Street. This is crazy stuff. Over a 2-week period in the stock market, he went from having $800 to making get this, $350 million. It's whatever he invested in turned into gold, which is nearly impossible to do. He was arrested by the cops on the allegation that he must have had illegal insider information. But when he was asked, how and why he did it, the cops weren't really expecting what he had to say. He claimed to be a man from the year 2256, and since he was from the future, he knew exactly how the stocks were going to perform. Obviously, the cops were like, yeah, okay, pal. But wait, soon after he was released on bail, he disappeared from the face of the earth, and even after repeated attempts, no one's been able to find him. So was he telling the truth? Also, he predicted the exact date of the US invasion of Iraq. Wow, somebody with information from the future disappeared? Where have we seen that before today? It's not like I've mentioned it a couple of times. And that brings us to the end of our time. I've been Alexa, your resident ookie spooky girly, and hey, if you enjoyed my ramblings today, could you help us out by giving this video a like, subscribing if you aren't already, hit the bell for more alien takes from us here at Top 5 Scary Videos, and I'll see y'all next time, you lovely spooky people.